Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Thank you so much for joining us for this, the second half of this episode here. We're continuing on with our friend and guest, Rachel Laymon. We also have my co-host joining us today, Mr. Rob Myers. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Upset I missed part one. Unfortunately, air travel these days is full of delays and being rerouted to other airports. It's been a crazy summer. The weather's just been a nightmare as far as travel is concerned. So I'm happy I'm home. I'm not flying. Looking forward to part two.
Nice. Yeah, I was watching your final descent in there to Tennessee, and I was like, okay, he'll be here, no problem. He's actually turning into the airport, and then I get a text message 3 minutes before we started recording with Rachel. Hey, going to Atlanta. Yeah, see you later. Good luck. So
Yeah, we were probably 300 or 400 feet from the runway, and the decision was made that there was lightning. We have to abort the landing. So it was a bummer.
good to have you here today. And Rachel, thank you so much for joining us for part two. We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Pumped to be here.
Yeah. Are you recovered from the Nelly Ja Rule concert?
I think so. I'm still feeling pretty tired today. Getting getting home at past midnight is not in my regular routine at all anymore ever. So that made for a late night, but it was fun. Got to relive a little bit of those. For me, it was high school music in those days. So it was fun to hear those songs again and go to that. So worth it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed the old nostalgic concerts. Going to them brings back a lot of good memories. And a lot of those bands are still, well, in this case, artists, I guess, rapper, still performing at a very high level. So glad you made it. Well past my bedtime to get home. That is the problem, especially with Blossom, that it is a nightmare to get out of. If you get in one of those grass lots, it can be a while. So
yeah.
First thing I wanted to start off with is there's a couple fads that you're an ultra marathon coach, and there's a couple fads that I think have recently surfaced here in the ultra space, and I imagine going over to marathons as well, possibly some in the half marathons. Definitely one of these topics in the half marathon. But we'll start out with like the super high carb, I guess carb loading during the race, the nutrition during the race being super high carb. What are your feelings on that, and what do you recommend for your athletes?
Over the last few years, you just maybe keep hearing, as far as it goes with, carb loading and carbs per hour, it's just more and more and more. And it's like all the carbs you can take in. That's what the goal is. Yeah. So reeling it back in a little bit from kind of that, I don't know, that vibe you get from all the content out there, social media. I think that it's all, again, individualized. It's what can the person tolerate to take in, how much, how often. Everyone that you're looking at around at a race is a different height, weight, gender, and of a different probably carb tolerance. So it depends on a lot of things. Usually I guess, we'll go for ultra marathons or events that are over 4 hours, which kind of takes you into the ultra scene at times. There are some marathons that could take 5 to 6 hours though too. So it's like kind of crossing into each other there. But let's say we're talking about ultras, the goal is, I would say, roughly 90 grams of carb per hour. If we're looking at carbs, sometimes it's going to be a little bit less. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit more. Every hour is probably going to look a little bit different. If you're running 100 miles, I mean, a lot can happen in that time frame. So in a perfect world, sure, let's aim for 90 grams an hour. Okay, sounds great. Well, 23 hours into it, or even 8 hours into it, things can things can change. So that's a starting point. That's a starting recommendation. Then we want to kind of go ahead and try to practice those things in training along the way, early on in training. As the runs start to get longer, we start to build that in. I know there's super high carb like ideas and like, oh, maybe I can take out 120 grams per hour. Well, I mean, if someone tolerates that and practices like that, and that's what their body receives well, then yeah, I mean, sure, you can certainly go over that 90 grams an hour. Definitely, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what the athlete can tolerate. I would say it gets a little scary when you hear or see recommendations that are so much lower when you know that that person's going to be out there for a really long time. So,
When you're working with an athlete, how much does weight impact how many carbs per hour? I know weight's a very sensitive topic. We've talked about that here on the show. I'm 180 pounds, so I'm going to go through burn a lot more energy per hour than someone who's 140 pounds. That's just, I don't, do you know what that science is called, Rob? I don't. I'm sure there's a science behind it. Thermodynamics possibly could be. I don't know. But
I don't think so, but I guess did tell us at one point.
yeah, someone told us. I didn't write that down. But Rachel, how important is that when you're trying to come up with your athletes per hour structure?
Yeah, very. Because, yeah, the needs of maybe someone who's 135 pounds are certainly going to be different than someone who's 205 pounds. The differences just, yeah, they're huge. I mean, even from a carb loading perspective, those numbers would be wildly different. Even race morning, what should I eat? That's wildly different versus those two numbers that I just threw out there. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And depending on your body weight, yeah, you go off of some rough calculations that you try to aim for. But if you're carrying more body weight, then yeah, you're going to be probably ingesting more carbohydrates based on that in general.
You said something there. Hopefully I don't catch you off guard here because this is something I just heard and I didn't even look it up. But Will Walmsley on the show, he drinks Red Bull in the morning before races rather than coffee because of the acidity of the coffee. Hopefully I'm saying that he'll correct me. The acidity of the coffee on the stomach versus the acidity in the Red Bull on the stomach. Do you have any feelings on that? I don't know how to better phrase the question because I just learned about this. But it was interesting to me.
Is it because he feels he tolerates the Red Bull better?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, coffee screws up your stomach and causes problems, and you need to stop a lot, and Red Bull does not.
Oh,
But it was just, I'd never heard that before or, seen someone with that take, I guess. It was something new to me.
yeah, that's definitely new to me too. I have to say I don't think I currently work with anyone who uses Red Bull in general. So yeah, that's definitely new to me. That goes back to for me, that goes back to completely individualized preferences. Again, I have seen people who will eat Chipotle or like large pizzas the night before a race. And I have people who they wouldn't go near that for $1 million the night before a race. So yeah, I think that it is all depending on what your body can specifically tolerate, what you feel. Just like in his case, he said, if the acidity really bothers him of the coffee, then yeah, if that works for him, then go for it. Yeah.
So that's something you can add to your repertoire now to troubleshoot a sensitive stomach in the
Mm-hmm.
morning for an athlete. Yeah. Hey, if the coffee's kind of getting in the way, try a Red Bull. I drink Red Bull, mile 20. I'm a Red Bull, crack one open. Rob, you ever drink one?
Oh yeah, often. I think I've finished a couple of years in a race because you only drink half of it, and then I see Annie and she offers me the other half. So
Yeah, yeah. I like ginger ale and Red Bull are my go-to. Like aid station. If I can get Annie to bring something, it's Red Bull and I don't drink it any other time. I know, Rachel, you're hearing Red Bull and you're like, as the dietitian, I'm sure you're cringing. Please don't destroy your heart and drink whatever else is in it.
on this topic, because you are a dietitian, how do you handle your athletes when they're on kind of a fringe diet? And I know we don't see it a lot in the running community, but there are a ton. And I think of keto diets. I mean, there's other heavy fat, heavy protein, low carb diets, and they're runners. And when you meet one of those people and they're just gifted at running, you can't really disagree with their argument, but at the same time, the science doesn't support it. And to your point, we're all individuals, but have you run across that? I mean, how do you handle those conversations?
Absolutely. Yes. I have had a handful of people who, mostly men, I will say. And I do think there's something to that. Like men and women can just, what they can tolerate and do is so wildly different. But in general, yeah, I have had a handful of more male athletes who I'm keto or I eat low carb. That's just kind of how I roll. That's what I want to do. It kind of goes into, there's so much that goes into it as a dietitian, right? Like you're counseling with people and you're working towards, a goal. You're providing them with the information that's out there, the research that's out there, and you're hoping that, hey, if you want to take this information into account and it could help performance. And it goes into those stages of change. Some people are not ready to change and they maybe just are like, no, I'm good on my nutrition. That's great information, but I'm good. And I just want you to write me training plans and I'm more interested in the workouts. And sometimes things like as you get training, things can unfold a little bit. Over time, you build up trust with anyone you're working with. And they kind of think, I had a couple bad workouts that just weren't the best. Maybe she's right. Maybe I should try a few more carbs or something like that. So things, things can evolve throughout a training process. So I think, it can go so many different ways. I have had people who are like, they only ate more carbs like before their longest long runs and before race day. So, I mean, it's like, we'll never know. Could they have run better? Probably. Your body utilizes that. So why not? Could they have recovered better? Yeah, I'm sure they could have, but it is all a personal preference. So just like anything, oh my gosh, I have counseled thousands of people over my, dietitian career and now more sports focused with what I'm doing. But before I started my own business, oh yeah, it was fad diet central. That's, you spend so much time like unpacking that stuff and, presenting it in a way that, you're being kind about it and not, just jumping the gun like, hey, I wouldn't do that. Like, well, let's unpack it. Let's talk about it a little bit and work with the patient or athlete on that. Yeah, I've experienced a lot of that for sure.
I'm hearing you take a gentle approach to the topic, but you don't recommend the carnivore diet is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Not for endurance athletes, correct. Yeah.
That's one that always kind of perplexed me. It's like, it's kind of in line with the barefoot runner. They're the same to me, the same type. Like, I get it. You want to do it different. Like, that's cool. But don't tell me that you're worried about performance when you're not putting any fuel in the tank, so to speak. Like the barefoot runner, like, yeah, that's great. And we have a guy around here that runs barefoot. I see him all the time. It's like, that has to hurt. It doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look good. Please put shoes on. That's why we invented them 30,000 years ago, to protect our feet. And I get you should walk around barefoot. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Yeah, that's something that just drives me crazy, is the keto endurance athlete, Rachel.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I get it. You want to do it. That's fine. That's your lifestyle. Hey, cool. Yeah, I like my carbs. I like my sandwiches with a big bun, right, Rob?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm team pizza before a race, but I know not everyone is.
Yeah, see? Yeah, it's so different for everybody. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely team carb. I like to recover well. I like to sleep well. I like to run well. Give me my carbs for sure.
Now, you mentioned recovery. That was the next thing I wanted to bring up here. You're a personal trainer as well, strength coach. Very important. I think that's something that I added. I want to say I've been very consistent over the last 24 weeks doing strength training. I've noticed a huge change, as well as recovery. What are some things? First thing I'm going to ask about recovery. What do you recommend doing, like, as a daily recovery routine for every run? Do you have something that you prescribe for that? Like, hey, athlete, when you are done with your run, I want you to do ABC. Is there something that you prescribe?
Usually it's more nutrition related, yes. I have athletes that will commit to doing a little bit of stretching and things like that.
I'm not committing to doing that, by the way, ever. Under any circumstance. I will not stretch. I hate stretching.
Yeah, I know that's a tough topic for runners, stretching for sure. Yeah, a lot of the recovery I focus on for my athletes. Yeah, again, it's individualized when it comes to like other extra things. So if you have somebody who's really focusing on like hip strength or calf tightness or something like that, like then we're probably going to focus on give that a little bit of extra attention, a little bit of stretching, things like that afterwards can go a long way. And then eating and drinking afterwards in a short window of time can be really impactful for recovery.
What is that window?
Yeah, within the first half hour is usually ideal getting something down. You'll see different recommendations out there. I've seen 0 to 2 hours, try to have this and that. The message I try to send is try to eat something as soon as you're able to. The sooner the better, right? Like I don't think there's a perfect time to do it. I think it is just the sooner the better. And then it's focusing on that's when you're really hitting the protein, right? We need protein and carbs to recover well, but the protein is going to be much more beneficial post workout, post run, post lift.
I guess I probably should have asked someone like you before I spent money on this, but I started drinking LMNT. I ran out of it, and it could have been in my head. I don't know, but for like 4 days, I felt terrible after my runs when I wasn't drinking that. I don't know if it's because I just became so used to it and then just cold turkeyed it and quit, but I had to hurry up and order another however many pack. But is that something that you recommend? Is it the magnesium maybe in there that I feel that way?
Yeah, I love LMNT. I love that product. I personally use it a ton. I have a huge stockpile in my garage if you need some. I love it. I think that especially in the summer, I feel the same way, a very significant difference if I am to forget it or run low on it or something. It's I think it's like no carb at all, maybe a gram, I can't even
Yeah.
remember. It's low carb, no carb, and it's all your electrolytes, right? Sodium, magnesium type of electrolyte replenishment. So that's what we're losing in our sweat. We're losing fluid and electrolytes. So it's great if you're taking the water in and trying to hydrate with water. But when you actually have those electrolytes, A, going back in, and B, in on a regular basis, that's what actually helps hydrate you. That keeps the water, kind of like retains the water in your body. It helps keep you more hydrated. That's why you might talk to people who, oh, I drink, gallons of water a day. I pee all the time. And it's like, well, you're probably maybe not actually hydrating. It might just be going through you at this point because your body's not really utilizing that fluid. So back to the LMNT, yeah, it's hard to say exactly how much sodium we lose in our sweat without getting a sweat test done. But knowing that we're losing that in our sweat no matter what, if that's a product that's working for you, I would say, yeah, definitely reorder it, get to taking that again because it seems to be working out well and you can feel the difference when you're not taking it.
Yeah, that was one thing where as soon as I quit taking it, I ran out. And I tried what was it? It was like a variety pack, and they have some awful flavors. It was like a mango chili flavor. And so I was running low and I was like down to mango chili, and I hate grapefruit. And I was like, this is going to be awful. Like, I got to either eat like mango chilies or grapefruit. And that's not good for me. But I did. Like, I got to say, Rachel, and I bought it myself. So I'm not no way sponsored by LMNT, but I felt almost like I was getting sick, like just kind of lethargic. The heart rate was up a little bit more than it had been until then I got the next shipment in and started drinking it. As soon as I'm done running in the morning is when I take it. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that someone with some actual education in the topic agrees with me on that. Rob, it's usually just me out of my theories, but
I mean, I've never tried it. I've heard you talk about it before and others, so I think I will give it a shot. See if I feel a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and I challenge you to try the grapefruit. I'm not a grapefruit person, and that is my favorite flavor.
Hey folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show. Yeah, I got that mango chili, and yeah, we occasionally drink White Claws, and we get the variety pack, and I will not touch the grapefruit. Like, absolutely, back of the fridge, don't care. Yeah, great. I don't know why grapefruit just.
Yeah, the real question is why are you drinking White Claws? I mean, come on, man. Drink a normal beer like the rest of us.
I usually do, but sometimes I like the claws. There's no laws when you're drinking claws, Rob.
Except the mystery alcohol. No one knows what it actually is.
Yeah, it's a mystery. Like, I do prefer beer, so that's good. I actually got some backing on that, which always helps me out. So electrolytes, protein seems pretty easy post run, but a lot of people I think don't do that, right, Rachel? Like, I'm sure you get a lot of athletes in and they just go like to their cup of coffee or whatever, or drink a glass of water maybe, but people don't focus on that. I feel it definitely helps you build up much quicker especially when you're doing other things as well, which we'll talk about here next.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, all the time. I have people who will run 5 in the morning because that's when they go and they've got to get out the door. They get their run in, they come home, and they're on to the next thing. So it's first, it's a project of like, okay, let's get something in before you set foot out the door. Try to wake up a little bit earlier if you need to, or we just try to work with what's quick and easy and what sits well if you're really short on time, or who wants to wake up extra early? Not a lot of people. So we try to work with that. And then the next thing is, okay, if the run's long enough, then we have to worry about what are you taking during. And then after, yeah, it's a lot. So getting them, they're coming home, you got to hit the shower, the kids are waking up or whatever's going on, or you're just in a rush to get to work. Yeah, you're using your coffee as kind of a crutch because it's like you're not too hungry yet. Exercise naturally reduces your appetite. So people just kind of ride that out. And then next thing you know, it's like 10, 11 a.m. and maybe you're finally starving at that point. So we've missed that window of opportunity, the one that's before the run, maybe during the run, and then after. So if you're able to pull all of that together, then you're really able to make so much more progress while you're actually running and doing the workout. And then your recovery is even a little bit faster too, which means your training's going to be even better in preparation for race day. So it's all super important.
Yeah, it is. All the blocks go together to build yourself up for whatever it is your goal is. And another important block that I want to talk about here with you, Rachel, because you're a strength coach, is strength workouts that you prescribe. I know we've talked about it, Rob and I, a number of times, a number of guests. We've dedicated at least a few full episodes just to strength training. Mike from Big Tree Fitness and Jason Fitzgerald of the Strength Running Podcast.
That's it.
Yeah, I listen to it all the time, but I feel that the recovery and the strength are what has led to me becoming a better runner for sure. I think I took like an hour off my 50K PR once I started focusing on those things.
That's huge. An hour?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit different course, Laurel Highlands versus canyons out in California. So it was kind of just like a road race with a mountain in the middle of it.
Okay.
I mean, not the most technical trail, right, Rob?
No, not at all. It's like California carpet, right?
Yeah. So there was there was a degree of difficulty of courses, but I felt a lot better. Like even through mile like 23, I was like, oh, this feels really good. And one of the things I really, like I said before, I focused on was strength training. What do you recommend for your athletes, and how often do you get a new athlete that has zero experience in usually the runners and zero idea what it is that they're doing? Because I know strength can be kind of an intimidating thing to sign yourself up for, to improve on that.
Yeah. And it's a big, a time commitment, right? Like if you're training for, say, a marathon or an ultra, I mean, you're putting in a lot of hours per week already. So committing to that strength training, it's hard. It's like adding something else in, just like anything. But gosh, it's so crucial. I mean, we lose, what is it? 3 to 8% or something like that. I'll have to look up the updated stat. That may or may not be it. About you lose so much muscle mass every decade of your life after you turn 30. I mean, you just do. So you have to fight to keep it on there. It's just so important. Yeah. So a lot of times I will get athletes who, yeah, they've never really lifted or they've never lifted consistently. They've never been strength training while they're training, while they've been a runner. They've never crossed those two together. Yeah, that's actually really, really common. And it's great when the athlete is able to commit that extra time, even if it's, sometimes it's one, maybe two sessions a week. And I say, go for it. That's one or two more times a week. You're looking at 4 to 8 more times a month of strength training than you would have done at all. So sometimes it's just like any new habit, starting small, getting used to whether it's a home gym, going to a gym, getting used to the machines or the workouts or the classes they might be going to. Definitely, I have seen that a lot.
What do you recommend for those folks as far as the starting point? Is it just body weight exercises, weights, bands, machines? I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there's so much to choose from. A lot of times I will start with, what do you have available to you? Sometimes it's a home gym they've got no weights yet. They'll invest in it. Like they want to see how it goes before they decide whether they want to invest in a gym membership or if they think that building up the home gym would be better for themselves or their family. So I first start with, yeah, what kind of stuff are we working with here? What do we have? What kind of time do we have? Like, when would you go? When would you fit this in? Is it realistic to make it to the gym? Is it more realistic to be at home? And yeah, how long has it been, if ever, if they have done strength training? So if they are at ground zero, have done, really nothing in that realm before, we're starting, yes, with body weight stuff. We're starting small, right? It's just like if you were to take off a year from running for whatever reason, probably need to start you at a run walk and just really take it easy, ease into it versus, jumping into a 6 or 8 mile run, the first run back, it's been a year. So yeah, easing them into it.
Yeah, that's important. I know when I've taken time off in the past of strength training, especially when you hit like that first squat day and you can't walk for 3 days afterwards, it's painful. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. So got to start out slow and like it can be embarrassingly slow, and that's fine. Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
do air squats with just body weight is good because you can tear your legs up pretty quick, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
with if you go too hard and then you just kind of put yourself back behind the 8 ball again.
Yeah, and then it can feel defeating. Like, wow, I'm so sore for so many days. I can't even get my long run in or whatever it might be. Then they might just cut it all out again in general. So we want to make sure we're easing into it enough to where it's doable. It's challenging, but doable.
Yeah, I found if you break it up a little bit, like whatever the totals are, if you want to get 100 push-ups in, split it up, you know, 5 times a day. You're walking in your hallway, knock out 10 push-ups, and then a couple hours later, knock out a ton, 10 more, and then eventually by the end of the day, you're going to hit the amount you wanted to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I
a
find
great
that
idea.
much easier to take on than, you hear these guys like, oh, 200, 300 push-ups a day, and deadlift a couple 100 pounds and squat and all this in like an hour at the gym. I'm like, nah, I'll split it up.
Mm-hmm.
I have time to make it to the gym once, twice a week. That's about it. That's all I have time for. And I'm sure, Rachel, most of the athletes you have are time sensitive. I mean, we have jobs. We're not getting paid to run. It's our hobby. We're hobby joggers. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that's a pretty common thing. Yeah, once a week. That's sometimes I'm lucky to get there once a week. So
Yeah, and that's great. Like I said, I mean, that's four or so times that you go through the month.
just I got to be consistent. That's with running, with anything, being consistent, you get a lot of results quick. While we're talking about strength, I've noticed another trend as I'm staring at mine that I've had for years now. Weighted vests seem to be popular. I noticed men and women in my neighborhood walking around with weighted vests on pretty frequently now. Is that a new trend? I know, being a member of Mike's gym in the Valley, Big Tree Fitness, he's been doing the weight vest thing for a number of years. So is that something new that people are doing? I know they're runners because I see them running other times as well. Not in the weighted vest, I should add. That's probably not a good idea. But just walking around in weighted vests is that a new thing?
Yeah, so the weighted vests, I have seen that, I guess, on social media a lot.
Is it a TikTok thing?
I yeah, so I have a TikTok. I'm not really on it much.
I'm not on it at all.
Yeah, my husband sends me funny reels throughout the day. So when I open it up, sometimes it shows like an initial reel and then it'll go to his. So I have seen some weighted vest TikToks, I guess, in that way. So I do think that they're popular, I guess, or maybe being used more right now. I have had one person use them while they walked, and she loved it. I mean, she was raving about it. She just felt like it was the perfect thing she needed at that time for her walks. I do think there's some validity to gaining a little bit of strength if you're like walking. I don't know if you're running, if that would be the best idea. In general, I think that could really do some things to your form. And I don't know if that would be really good for overall, like for running specifically. I get the idea of it though, maybe if you're running with the extra weight. But I think the placement of it could maybe be a little bit harmful. I don't really know how the vests are totally made. I think the weight would be evenly distributed, but it almost reminds me of running while pregnant or something. And your weight is it's so different. And I get the extra challenge of that for sure. So yeah, I've never personally tried one though. Have you guys tried a weighted vest at all?
I've hiked in it. Rob's more of the weighted vest, so we'll have to get his opinion on it. Rob?
Yeah, I think depending on the weight, it can be pretty useful though. Right? I mean, most trail runners have some type of vest on. Some have the full bladder that could be carrying a lot of water, a lot of weight. So you could simulate that through a weighted vest,
Hmm.
right? Just to get used to it. But I don't know if that's the best use case for a weighted vest, at the end of the day. And try running in those things. It just hard on the knees, hard on the hips. Probably not the best training tool for running. Hiking, yes, when it's not moving around, I could see that.
Hmm. Yeah, I could see hiking and walking being, yeah, more beneficial there for sure.
And you burn more calories carrying an extra 15, 20 pounds, whatever. Yeah, you're going to burn more calories if that's your goal and work a little bit harder. But before we go, Rachel, I have one topic I wanted to bring up actually earlier, but I forgot because I forgot a lot. That's why I write everything down. The topic of sodium bicarbonate. I know it's become a hot button thing. Companies are selling it. It's just, I mean, it's baking soda sold for an exorbitant amount of money. What are your feelings on it? Does it have any benefit to runners, do you think?
I don't know. Um, I feel like there's other things you could use or try and probably have a better outcome as far as improving your running than taking this. Over time, the things I've read about it, it seems like it's good for like more like shorter explosive type of activity. But it's also advertised like Morton, for example, they seem to kind of advertise it to more of the, ultra runners too, or distance runners. Um, yeah, I don't personally, I have nobody who uses it. I've never tried it myself. I'm definitely not against trying things. I think it's like, hey, why not give it a try? See what it's like. But as far as it being something that could take your running to the next level, I don't think that that's it. I think fueling and hydrating properly would really get a lot of people to the next level. And then maybe if you're using like, I don't know, a super shoe or something like that, might even produce more benefit than something like this. That's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. It's across the board, I want to say, Robin, we've asked this question of either dietitians or people in the industry. They've all pretty much said the same thing. Friend of the show, Will Walmsley, who's a chemical engineer. I think he's he's a chemical engineer. Yeah, he pretty much had the same sentiment, like, yeah, kind of out on that. So yeah, I hear it all the time, but that's another thing. Like you see all these things online, and there's so much information and so many people trying to sell you something at all times on the internet that it's kind of dystopian, but it's, hey, something worth talking about, and hopefully, people can make an informed decision on it really being snake oil rather than something productive, when there's probably a lot of things, Rachel, that you can fix in your diet, strength, recovery, fueling during the race. Very important, we found out, huh, Rob?
Oh yeah. No, I think you just made a great point though. And we've asked that question to many folks at this point, and we have yet to hear anyone that's like team bicarb, all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually a lot of, well, maybe, don't recommend it. I've read some studies, it's there's no one that's very enthusiastic in their answer, put it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same bucket as ketones, I think.
Yeah, same bucket.
There's always something new in sports that, oh, let's try this magical elixir. Rather than go run your 6 miles today, just eat this, Rachel, and you'll be faster and better, right?
Right. It's like the overarching theme of people in general, like, what's the quick fix? How can I get faster by doing less or drinking something or eating something, Yeah, I feel like it's in that theme of that.
I agree. And it is like, that's why I have guests like you come on that, hey, here's what it takes to do better. Now, so go do it and get better. It's not an easy process. It's a long one, and consistency and doing things the right way tend to put your trajectory in an upwards one. So hopefully that's something people take away from this show. Right, Rob?
Yeah. Running for most people that we're talking to is more of a lifestyle, right? Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of sports out there, and folks that do other things will run, just for the health benefits, but it's a lifestyle.
Thank you again for joining us for a second time, Rachel. I certainly appreciate that. It's great to have you in our running community here. We talked a little bit about that before the show, like how deep our running community, trail running, ultra running, marathons, half marathoners. We've got a lot of fast people in the Akron area. And, we certainly appreciate what you do for that community. I see you out at all these different events with your company. So I just appreciate you being a part of it with us out here in the greater Akron area.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel really fortunate to kind of be in this position and be connected to so many runners. It's just such a supportive community. It's like overwhelming support always. And it's from day one. You just kind of realize that at your first race, and that you just kind of look around like, wow, this is really cool. This is a really cool community to be part of. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Rachel, where can our listeners find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, it's Run Well, Be Well. I'm Run Well, Be Well on both platforms. That's mainly where I'm at. My website is just runwellbewell.com.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Jogger. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the miles.